Michigan State wins a close one against Maryland. Thankfully, Jahmir Young fumbles the ball at the end of the game. I didn't think Jahmir Young was going to be able to do anything with 5 seconds left, but he fumbles the ball and Michigan State gets the win. Tyson Walker has a very good game. Just overall, Michigan State kind of some questionable stuff here and there, but they got the win. And Maryland is looking like a much more formidable opponent, and they were kind of in the same range with the record and everything like that for Michigan State. So for Michigan State to go on the road and get this win here, that is huge for them in this situation. Anthony, what were your thoughts on the game?
So first off, I think saying Jahmir Young fumbled the ball is being extremely disingenuous to Tre Holloman, making a defensive play and poking the ball away from him.
Well, when they fumble it, somebody else makes it normally.
Yeah. But I mean, I think, you look, this is obviously a tale of two halves. First half, MSU scores 44. They were shooting 59% from the field, 6 of 10 from three. And I mean, like on the road against Maryland, who's by most metrics a top 30 defense, that was pretty impressive to put up that, offensive showing. And then Maryland really adjusted well in the second half. They clamped down in the paint. I think they had 6 blocks in the second half alone. So they really, really keyed in on trying to stop Michigan State defensively. And for the most part, it worked. Michigan State only had 17 second half points. A.J. Hoggard and Tyson Walker really have to be MSU's closers if they want to do any serious damage in the Big Ten and in March. And they combined for MSU's last 5 field goals. So they did just that. I can't understate, or it can't be overstated how important Tre Holloman is to this team, particularly with having Jeremy Fears go down. I think having a guy like Tre Holloman for as a backup point guard is a luxury in the Big Ten. He coming off the bench, he's, I wouldn't say he's necessarily starting caliber, but as a 3-and-D guy goes, he can clamp down defensively. He really did well today defensively. Jahmir Young still had 19 points, but it was on 6 of 15 shooting. He had 7 turnovers, and then Tre had the poke at the very end to seal the game. So he's really flourishing right now with this increased role. Fun little nugget from John Rothstein. MSU is 9-0 when Tre Holloman scores 6 points or more. So he has a good game. MSU's going to look a lot better. Absolutely massive for MSU to get their first road win of the season. Proves that they can. It wasn't pretty, but honestly, I will take a road win anywhere we can get one in the Big Ten today. So props to Maryland for crashing the offensive glass, keeping themselves in it with their defense, but really, really excited to see Michigan State, finish out a close one on the road.
Yeah, I mean, Maryland, their record won't say it, but they've been playing really good ball lately. Ever since that Purdue game, they've been right in those games with them, or they've won the game. So Maryland is playing some good basketball right now. It kind of goes back to what I said in the last recap about the Maryland game. Really, their best shot to win games is for Jahmir Young and Julian Reese to score half the points. In this one, they scored 29, and they had 59 points, so they weren't 50% there. Jordan Geronimo, 0 points in 25 minutes, only 3 rebounds, 4 personal fouls. I mean, when you have more personal fouls than you do rebounds and you play 20-plus minutes, that's just not going to get it done. Jahmir Young, I think, is a fantastic player. Julian Reese is not only a fantastic player on offense, but he's also one of the best defenders in the Big Ten. They just need some more help there. Now, granted, Scott, he was able to do a lot of work there, 16 points in this game, so that helped out a lot. But still, I mean, you have got to get more from some of these other guys, like Geronimo and Harris Smith and the bench. They're only 9 points off the bench in this one. It's not a winning strategy for Maryland to do that. And I think you're exactly right about Michigan State with Tre Holloman, Anthony. He not surprised me, but he did a lot of things in this game that really solidified the win for Michigan State, shooting 3 for 4 from behind the 3-point arc. That's huge for them, especially, when you're the leading 3-point shooter on the team coming off the bench. That provides so much for your team, not just in the points column, but also team overall, or team morale, everything like that. Kent, what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that if Michigan State was playing almost anybody else, this would have been a loss. Honestly, I gotta be honest. Even though Anthony's on the show, it's a good win. I have to admit, it's a good win to get any win on the road in the Big Ten. But the hole that Maryland had to dig out of in the first half was just a little bit too much. I thought Michigan State looked great in the first half. especially defensively. I even tweeted that out. It felt like Michigan State had 8 or 9 guys on defense. Like Maryland just could not get anything. They couldn't get to the basket. They couldn't do anything offensively, and that was a good credit to the Spartan defense. But as far as the second half goes, I thought it got coached poorly by Michigan State. I'll be honest. About 6 minutes left, they started running their patented like dribble handoff at the top of the key offense where they hand it off or pitch it like 3 times. And then every single time they run a pick and roll off of that. And as a casual, which that's what my account is named, if I can figure that out, then Division I college basketball players, especially Maryland college basketball players, figured it out. And that's when they started getting stops and getting back into the game. I thought that Michigan State should have started doing a little bit different stuff offensively at the end of the game to try to take the lead and take control of this game, and they didn't. But like you said, they ended up hitting enough shots at the end. Obviously, Tyson Walker's like 3 with less than a minute to go was the dagger right there. But I feel like if that shot doesn't go down, then Michigan State loses this game. And then it's really, honestly, this is going to sound crazy, but for me, like this game really like hinged a lot of what their season is going to be like. I felt like if they lost this game, there was a chance that they start sliding down to not making the tournament. And if they won this game, it's like a completely different team. Like now they can start going towards getting a higher seed in the tournament. And luckily for Spartans fans, they did win this game and they can start going that direction. But again, for Maryland, just too many mistakes. I mean, 17-7 on the turnovers. And then, like I said, the hole to dig out of in the first half was just a little bit too much for them. If they could have played a little bit better in the first half, they could have got this home win, but it was just too much. But I still feel like Michigan State has a lot to improve on if they're going to, get a higher seed in the tournament and then even like make any sort of a run in the NCAA tournament, which is what we were kind of expecting them to do going into this season, right?
Yeah. I mean, these were both teams that came into the season with very high expectations, and Michigan State is the team who can not fulfill all of those, but at least get to the tournament and make some noise there. But Maryland, I mean, a lot of their hype came in from guys. Well, I mean, we have Terps guy right here letting us know DHS and Jamie Kaser. They're not good, and I hate saying that. I hate being that guy to point out players, but I'm not saying they're not good, but they're not playing well, that's for sure. So they might be good players, but on the court, what they're showing right now, it's just not enough. I pointed out Jordan Geronimo, but he's exactly right. A couple of those guys there. It's just not good enough for Maryland to be who they hope to be this season. And I felt like this game was kind of the nail in the coffin to say, Maryland, you step back from what you were supposed to be. And honestly, the people I feel the worst for are Jahmir Young and Julian Reese, because their talent has essentially been wasted with this team. I know that sounds harsh, but I mean, Anthony, am I wrong?
I mean, outside of those, they obviously defensively, those two guys are, game changers, and offensively, they're both sides of the ball. They're really, all you can ask for, but you need more from everyone else. And early on in the season, when Michigan State was struggling, it was kind of like, when will anyone not named Tyson Walker step up? And then when people not named Tyson Walker step up, the team looks a lot better, right? So it's you have to have more help. It can't just be a 2-man show.
Yeah, for sure. Ultimate Boiler, what's up, JR? What's up, Ultimate Boiler? Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. Kent, I wanted to kick it back to you. We've talked about this a little bit. What can is there anything this Maryland team can do to give some satisfaction to the fans this season? I hate to just, continue to pour down on them, but is there anything that Maryland can do this season to give them? I mean, would an NIT, win give them any satisfaction? I mean, is there anything they can do this season to give them satisfaction?
I don't think so. Honestly, like when you watch this Maryland team play, I should say, it's just way too many possessions offensively where they look completely lost and they don't know what they're doing. They run a high pick and roll with Reese and Young. And then if that doesn't immediately work, then everyone else is just kind of standing around. So I just feel like they're kind of handicapped offensively. And like Anthony was saying, they're a pretty good defensive team, but they just can't score enough to make any sort of a run. They're not going to be able to make a run in the Big Ten tournament, so that's not going to help them at all. And then to be honest, like, no one cares about the NIT. Like, you could win the NIT, and like Maryland, who is the last current Big Ten team to win a national championship, is not going to be happy with a NIT championship. They're just not. So that's not going to make them happy, and they're not going to make the tournament. And it's just unfortunate. Like you said, Jahmir Young is so talented, and they have enough pieces. But I just feel like offensively, they just can't do enough to do what they thought they were going to be able to do this season.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's sad. I put out my power rankings, what was it, last week for player of the year, and I got some flack from some Maryland fans because they were saying Jahmir Young should be up there. And while I don't disagree he should be up there based on talent alone, unfortunately, when your team is not up there contending at all, it is really, really hard to win player of the year and even be in that discussion for the Big Ten. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about when I say that, Maryland has essentially wasted Jahmir Young because he's not even getting the credit he deserves for how talented he is. One more note on Michigan State before we move on here, Anthony. I was very critical of the front court early on in the season, and I would like to hear your thoughts, Anthony, because I've heard some people talk about how things are getting better. I think Malik Hall is getting better. I think Malik Hall is doing better. But I look at Carson Cooper, 0 points, 27 minutes, 4 rebounds. I look at Matty Sissoko. Granted, he only plays 10 minutes in this game, but 2 points. I mean, do you see improvement from this front court that is helpful at all? I mean, are you seeing the same thing I am? Is there something I'm missing? I don't see a winning front court on this team.
So, I mean, obviously, yeah, Malik Hall has definitely been better. He's over the last 7 games. He had 1 stinker at Northwestern, but other than that, 6 of the last 7 games, he's been everything we wanted him to be, right, and a veteran upperclassman. There's times where I think he gets a little bit reliant on the same, post type moves, but sometimes that post type move is really hard to stop, and Maryland figured it out in the second half. But I think Malik Hall had 12 points in the first half of this game. So he's a big reason MSU. I
think that's all the points he had too.
Right. And that was the difference at halftime. So, obviously it's been a breath of fresh air to see him really, really step up in the ways that he has. I think the 5, I don't want to throw up our hands and say nothing can be done, but at this point, all we can ask for from that group is combined, can we get into double-digit rebounds, right? There's been a couple games where Matty Sissoko has 4 points, but he has 12 boards, right? I think he's top. I put out a stat last week. He was number 9 in the country in defensive rebounding percentage. So when he's out there and he's keeping teams off of the offensive glass, that's really, that this team he can help get the transition going. He's not going to be your first guy up the floor, but if he can secure the rebound, get it to the guards who can really push up the floor, MSU gets, if they can get 15, 20 transition points, it's a total game changer for this team. Today, Sissoko had foul trouble, right? So that kept him off the floor. I think ideally we'd want him playing a lot more than 10 minutes. I think he's probably got a slight edge over Cooper in terms of what he brings to the team in terms of physicality. I think Cooper's a little more mobile in terms of defending pick and roll. Obviously, I'd love to see Jackson Kohler be 100%, but the fact of the matter is he's coming off, half a season with a foot injury. So he's not going to be jumping right back into action. He looked good in the 2 minutes he was in tonight, but it was, I'm not expecting him to jump right in and play 15, 20 minutes a night like a lot of people probably wanted him to. If you're looking for offensive production, it's going to come from Kohler. You're not going to see it from Cooper or Sissoko outside of an offensive rebound and putback or a lob, right? And if teams are shutting that down, they're going to be non-factors on offense. So would I like to see MSU run some small ball? Absolutely. Will they? Probably not. Izzo will continue to run a play through Sissoko the first time off the tip, and it's going to make me pull out my hair every time he does it, and he's still going to do it. Izzo's Izzo. He's stubborn. You love him, you hate him, but that's what you get at this point from the center position. So long answer to a short answer. Do I see improvement? Probably not from the center. From Malik Hall, definitely. He's definitely looked like a rejuvenated player over the last 7 games.
Here's the nice thing I'll say about the Michigan State front court. Carson Cooper has the most intimidating neck in the Big Ten. It's just like girth on that thing.
JR, I had to comment on the front court real quick, if I may.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I know the front court might be struggling, but I think the thing that we're forgetting a lot about Michigan State is that the play that we're getting from the bench, and a lot of people talk about in college basketball, they talk about the bench and they talk about players that are actually playing. But I do want to mention that Steven Izzo is averaging at least 25 stand-ups per game, every game so far. And that is something that cannot be overstated. He stands up, he claps his hand, he does the rocking the baby, he sometimes jumps. And, the front court really feeds off that. And you could see that in this game. Some of those guys were like, okay, I can feel Steven jumping and getting up, and he's getting excited. So we're going to get excited. We're going to get some blocks, maybe score some down low on the block. And, that's huge for them. And people don't really talk about that enough in college basketball. The bench play from the guys that are actually on the bench, You
gotta look at Garrick Norman too. He has some great bench reactions too. He's redshirting this year, but he'll be a good shooting guard in years to come. But he's right there next to Stevie, just faces lighting up on any big play.
Are they the best bench duo in the Big Ten?
No doubt.
Like we talk about backcourt duos. Like, what about the bench duos?
I think they're the only ones I know.
I'm not hearing
must be the best.
I'm not hearing any Steven Izzo slander on the closure of the week where he scored his only collegiate field goal. Probably his only ever collegiate field.
It's not slander.
Love Steven Izzo.
Oh, yeah.
We are the official Steven Izzo podcast.
He played in 43 games, I think. He was 0 for 15 before that shot.
Hold on. He played in 43 games?
43 games.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, good for him. Is he a senior? How old is he?
He is a super senior, yeah.
Wow. So super senior or COVID senior?
He's played 5 years. So I think he redshirted 1 year, and he's had 4 years or not redshirted, but like he had an eligible extra year because of COVID. So he's currently in his 5th year.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we could sit here and talk about Steven Izzo all night. We'll end it with this. Blake here, epic bucket too. Yes. It
was an epic bucket.
Yeah. So epic. You put some Titanic music behind it and your tweet gets viral. So
it's great.
Thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.